It shook me, eh? I'm just carrying on a bit. You're an animal. Whether you are watching us on YouTube or listening to us on your favourite podcast platform, welcome back to the Torq Hub PODCAST.
Yo, podcast number 20. What's up? Pretty sure it's number 20.
We'll go with that.
I'm pretty
It's
sure
one
it
of
is.
them. We're going to have to stop counting at some point.
Yeah, probably. You're dead right.
Yeah.
It's a wintry night. It's been a bit wet, a bit cold.
Yeah, hopefully the rain doesn't come in and screw our audio up.
Yeah, it was looking a bit dicey there before, but I think the radar is looking okay. What's going on, bud? I'll tell you what, the rain has been nice because now it's not super duper dusty out there. We managed to get the young fellas out on the dirt squirters.
Yes, it's that season.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good.
And you can sit outside around a fire. That's also just one of life's little, it's just the simple pleasures.
It's about the only time I want to be outside. Being skinny like me, I'm not a massive fan of winter.
But if there's warmth around, like
Yeah.
a fire.
I'll get around it.
Yeah.
Either that or drink and jumper, one of the two.
Yeah. Nah, wicked. I been out and about in the D-Max, mate. Been making use out of the little fit out she's got now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously we sort of done the holiday chat before, but I've been out camping, did a bit of a boys trip, went up plantation areas, somewhere nice and quiet and cold and foggy. Lit a fire, shooting guns and whatever. Tell you what, same thing. It's the simple pleasures of just being able to flick those lights on in the canopy, reach into the fridge, like super easy access for everything. Really makes me happy that I've done it.
Hard work paid off. In the
Yeah,
end.
yeah. And look, there's still plenty more that you could do as well, putting drawers and this and that and everything else, but just being able to be easily organised, you've got access to water, like all that there, done. Super, super happy. You guys obviously aren't. Didn't watch much of the videos.
Fuck the D-Max series.
Yeah, that's it. Well, look, truth be told, we knew from the get-go that series would probably tank, right? We were pretty confident that a lot of you guys would be less enthusiastic about that, being that it's not what we normally do. However, we did think that maybe it'd break us into a new audience, but obviously not. This is where YouTube just totally typecasts what you do, I feel. It's like, right, your click-through rate's gone down because your normal audience has seen the thumbnail and gone, full drive, and so they've just thrown the video in the bin. Wuss. Because there was, just as a bit of a content creator chat for a second, but as a bit of a unplanned experiment, I uploaded the 12 volt video of the D-Max on the same day as another Perth content creator who did a 12 volt video on his D-Max. And in a 24-hour period, I think our video got something like 550 views and he's got nearly 10,000. He's got a lot more subscribers than we do, and he does a fucking epic job at what he does as well. Like, hats off to him. Dan at Explorebound, if anyone's interested, have a look. But it was just an interesting look where, like, very similar geolocation uploaded on the same day. The videos are obviously different. We've got different editing styles and whatever, but content in the video is almost identical. And to see such a great disparity between the two was interesting.
Yeah.
But then we upload a video of me selling my ute and that gets double the views of the entire D-Max series put together in 48 hours.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing. It's a fickle beast, YouTube.
That's why you just don't care.
No, that's right. I don't care. Like I say,
I definitely don't care.
it was just an interesting observation, I guess, just as to how it works for some people. You know what I mean? Like the algorithm's just fucking that unpredictable.
Yeah, well, they're not going to push your video if it's not getting the clicks or whatever. They're going to push that same person a different video.
But you'd think that they would then put it in front of the eyes of the people who are watching similar stuff. But not really. Like, it just put it out in front of our audience who clearly weren't that interested in it, which is fine. I'm not holding that against you guys. Don't act like I'm, running you down. I don't care if you watch it or not. That's fine. Thank you for all your support, though. And, I don't know. It was just an interesting observation from a creator's point of view.
That's all right. We've moved on from that now anyway.
Yeah.
D-Max is
done for now. There's a couple of things that I'd still want to do with it. I think I made mention in the last video, I do want to upgrade that battery to a lithium, just because you're going to get far more capacity out of it and the amperage discharge as well. So I've got a 240 volt inverter to put in the canopy. But obviously if I'm running like an air fryer or something, that's going to draw a whole bunch of amps. So need something that's got a really good amp discharge rating. So that's why I'd like to do that. Also fit the inverter so that we can use that for charging the laptop or charging Milwaukee batteries or whatever while we're out and about doing our thing. Also a coffee machine. I'm sure you won't object to that.
No, I won't complain.
And then I've got to decide whether or not I'm going to put a tent on top of the canopy, because I do want to put a solar panel on it. But if I'm going to put a rooftop tent on there, then I'm going to wait until I get that before I do the solar panel. So that's something I've got to decide. But anyway, that's the D-Max. Yeah. Enjoyed it though. I mean, like I say, enjoying using it. And I think we'll get, good dividends out of it moving on.
Yeah.
Like as time goes on. So, however, I guess we just stop skirting the elephant in the room. Should we just move on to today's hot topic?
Sure.
This week's hot topic.
That's hot.
It's probably no surprise that the buzz, I guess, around the channel at the moment is the sale of my beloved VS Ute. I've got to say, as silly as it sounds, it hit me harder than I thought it would.
Yeah?
Yep. I know, the sale came at a good time, and, like it was, as far as situations go, it couldn't be a better situation. It's going to the right home at the right time. It's going to give me, some funds to put into this project. And I don't know, it was the day of, I felt like I was all right. Like Jacob came, did the handover, he left with the car. Obviously sort of felt the normal remorse that you'd have when your car drives down the road with someone else. But then the next day, that was when I sort of felt sad. Like, actually sad.
Yeah, right.
That it was gone. I feel it's been, a bit longer now, obviously, and I'm feeling a bit better about the situation. I'm sort of starting to do some research on parts that I'm going to purchase for the VH and ways on making that move forward. But it's still, I don't know, it still sort of weighs on my mind a little bit, which is surprising.
That's because
honestly.
you haven't bought anything for the VH yet and you haven't worked that way.
No, but I can't just go out spending straight away. I've got to be sort of smart with this, because
No, I just mean like once you start working on it and you've got a bit of a vision of, all right,
yeah,
this is what we're doing and this is where we're moving, and then you can get excited about that.
This is the first time in my life that I haven't had like a running registered street car in the fleet. It's like something that I can just jump in, go to a Cars and Coffee or, whatever. I've always had something that was sort of mildly modified and, doing my thing that way. And this is the first time that I haven't had it. It's just a weird feeling.
You just fucking hurry up your hole then and you'll be right.
Well, I can hurry.
I don't know if you've noticed this, but you're not getting any sympathy.
No. Well, so truth be told, when the offer came through, I was talking to Kurt because, we talk all the time.
Yeah.
I tell you everything. And I was just like, yeah, I had an offer on the ute, yada, yada, yada. We're having a bit of a chat. And you're just like, well, I hope you broke his arm off and snatched the money. Let's get that SLE happening, brother. And
I said it in different words, but it was more or less that was what
that was the vibe.
Yeah.
And
I think I might have said, you're a fucking idiot if you don't take that deal.
Possibly.
That's a good deal.
It was a good deal.
For everyone.
I don't think it was, groundbreaking money or anything.
No, it was a good deal.
Yeah.
Like you said, it was a good deal for the right person at the right time.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It was just a good deal all around.
So I took a week, I think it was, or maybe just over a week to think about it because I just really wanted to make sure that I was going to make a sound decision that I wasn't going to regret, essentially. And it was like, obviously I'm going to be sad that it's not here or, going to feel a little bit bummed that I'm selling it when I probably don't need to, if that makes sense. And I say that in inverted commas, I don't need to. But I think you said at the time as well, you're like, look, if selling the ute now isn't going to really accelerate the progress of the SLE, then the SLE just won't get done. And you were probably right.
I think you said, you were like, oh, that's like, it's not going to do that much for it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, if that ain't going to do nothing for it, then keeping it isn't, it's, nothing's going to do it.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to do anything for it.
Yeah, that's right. But, the more I thought about it, I won't harp on about it because I said it in the video as well, but the car just sits here a hell of a lot of the time. Can't put 2 kids in it, which means that I got days off, we've got days off where we can go and do some things and whatever, and the car just sits here. I don't use it because I can't put the kids in it. Whereas I do have 4 doors and 5 seats in this car, the SLE, and I think I'll get far more use out of it. So it's something that now I've got to be smart on how I move forward because although I do have this cash injection, it's not going to take me to the finish line.
Nah, no way.
As much as I'd like to think it would, but it's not going to take me to the finish line. So we've got to come up with a plan of, I don't want to buy things that are just going to sit on the shelf for ages because I've got to wait until I've done something else. So this is where it'd be really handy to have a project manager, someone that sort of built a lot more cars than we have that could sort of be like, this is the order that you should do it in, bang, bang, bang. And then I could make those purchases accordingly. But yeah,
I think you know what you need to do.
Yeah. We just got to work that out as we go. Yeah. And I think
you just got to get out of the mindset of that's the like that bit of money is all you've got. Like obviously you've got more money, so just all you need to do is you need to think where you need to start and you need to buy it and shit that's going to have a lead time. Get that on the move.
Yeah.
And go from there really.
Yeah.
And then I think a good thing would be to have a bit of money sitting there for if like a good deal pops up on something that would be nice to have, that's a deal that losing money if you walk away from
like a set of billet wheels or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's exciting times. It's kind of bittersweet, but it is exciting times. I'm super stoked for Jacob and his family though to be able to give part of their father back to him as well. It felt really wholesome. How did you feel when you sold the ute to me? You didn't have any feeling for it, did you?
I mean, I did. It was back when I had it. I bought it when I was 18. So that car back when I was 18 was a lot cooler than the car it is now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a sort of, I guess, in a local status sort of sense. Like it was pretty cool to have something like that back then. But the same reason. It sort of just sat there, got dirty, and I always knew I wanted to do bits and pieces with the VR, which I'm still working on. But like, it's just been a distraction, and that ute was kind of a little bit like that for you too, really, in a way. Like,
it was, yeah.
You weren't, and it was the same with the Maloo I had, that's probably the last distraction I've had. I don't think I've had anything else since then. Was the last VS Maloo I had, and I got rid of that for the exact same reason. I was like, this is cool and everything, but it's not how I want it, and the money I need to spend to get it where I want needs to be spent on the other car that I'm definitely never ever getting rid of. Yeah. So.
Yeah, because we
obviously, if you've got the time, if you've got the money and the time and the room, you wouldn't have to worry about getting rid of anything.
No.
But when your space especially is bad for both of us, we really need to upgrade where we're living in the sheds and stuff like that. So, you can only do so much with the space and time and money that you have at this particular point in your life. Yeah,
because we flirted with the idea of, all right, let's, maybe put a cam and a proper fuel system and maybe see what we can, put an LSECU in the ute or something and see if we can tune it a bit better and sort of see what we can really do with that combo. But at the same time, any money that was spent on that car was literally taken straight out of the mouth of the SLE project. And even when pushed the head gasket and getting it repaired in time to go to motivation, I think by the time you add up all the parts, obviously there's no labour, we did the labour ourselves, but all the parts and just getting the heads machine, that was probably $2,000 by the time that was done, because you buy the ARP bolts instead of stock bolts, and you get a new set of ignition leads, which means I'll get a new dizzy cap, and before you know it, it snowballs.
It's just a distraction.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
So there's no distraction. Well, look, there's plenty of distractions. We've still got the wagon to finish, and we've got this Maloo project that we're kicking off with soon, and it's there's still plenty of hours that need to be dedicated to other projects, but at least within my own fleet there's no distractions. But it's all about just planning the build. That's probably not a bad little topic to cover, actually, because we've kind of crossed this bridge a little bit with the Maloo. You guys haven't seen any content on it yet. We mentioned it in the last podcast. But things can evolve, right?
They always do.
Yeah.
They always snowball.
Yeah. So when...
Excuse me.
We've sort of discussed between ourselves in recent times, when you're planning a build and you're buying equipment, I think we've made mention before, you'd say things like, buy your EFI last, because that technology moves so fast that if you buy it, say now, and your car's still 12 months down the road, it's going to be outdated. But that isn't the only sort of trap you can fall into. You can buy things that, like I'm saying with me, buy things that'll sit on the shelf until you've done X, Y, Z, but because the previous tasks have escalated somewhat, now the stuff that you've bought is no longer fit for task. What sort of things would you say would be the parts that you'd leave until later, or what sort of thought process should you go through when you're planning a build from scratch?
I think, and I'm just using my own self, I've got the longest project in history and it's still going, so I'm going for the world record, but I think just having a clear goal or end product and being sort of realistic and trying not to get too caught up on what you see other people doing, because our egos will get hold of you and you'll see someone do something sick and you'll be like, oh, maybe I want to do that now, or I want to do something better than that, or you'll get a new idea. So it is hard to stick to a plan, but I think really sticking with a theme and a plan and sort of an ultimate goal and really sticking to it, rather than shooting high, which a lot of us do. You shoot high at the start and then realise maybe this isn't really, they might run out of funds or don't have the funds to complete it to the standard that it needs to match the first lot of bits that you've bought or whatever, and you end up with a mismatched combo.
Is it better to shoot higher at the start though than shooting low and then finding that you've bought a whole bunch of stuff that no longer works.
It depends what sort of person you are.
Yeah.
Honestly, really,
Yeah.
like we can't really say right or wrong.
No.
Some people like to just get shit done quick and we'll either revisit it later or just deal with it. It sort of just depends what sort of person you are.
Yeah.
And same thing again, what your goal is with the project, because sometimes there's projects out there you want to spend as little as you can. I want to have as much fun as I can with as little amount of money.
I wish I was like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's different. I mean, you can get different, and the same person can have two different projects on two different ends of the scale. You know, you need to watch someone like Cletus's channel and see some of the stuff that they do. They do the most ratchet shit going, and then they also have some of the best stuff money can buy. You know, and you can't say that they have more fun with one end of the spectrum than the other. So I think for me personally, it's not even got to do with components and money or time. It's just, I think having a clear theme of a car is what makes the most sense, because you can have the best parts ever,
Yeah.
but if you've got like, I don't know, taste is a personal thing obviously, but you've seen cars out there where they've got really good parts but it's just put together poorly and maybe mismatched, and it just, you know, you could have had something that worked a little better for the same amount of effort or less effort and money.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But having a clear goal and having a clear understanding of either how fast you want to be or how neat you want it to be.
Yeah.
And just being like realistic.
So we get a lot of you guys jumping in via email, particularly this sort of question comes up where people want recommendations on what sort of engine they should build or, what, you know, like things, you know.
And it's usually Holden V8 specific.
Yeah.
And my answer to that is, if you're asking whether you should LS or Holden it, you're going to LS it.
Yeah.
If you're a Holden guy and you want cammed, like you want sort of good, if you're not going to be happy with like 350 to sort of high 300 horsepower, say 400, if you're not going to be happy with that and you're not a Holden diehard, you'll go an LS. Whether you're going to either do it halfway through your build or not, like you're kidding yourself. If you're asking yourself the question whether you should go Holden or LS, go LS.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It's honestly that easy, don't you think?
Because if you're considering, like, say, I was thinking about putting a 6-litre or an LS3 in, but I don't know, I saw your guys' video and I really like the idea of doing a Holden V8. Dude, you're in for a world of heartache. You know, just ask us.
Yeah.
We'll tell you. Because, like you say,
Well,
if you want
450
wheel, if you want 450 wheel horsepower aspirated, which you could do quite easily with a 6-litre.
Or a 6.2 or with a manual.
But if you want to do that
whatever.
with a Holden V8, that's like minimum $30,000 engine in today's money, I reckon. Unless you're
It just depends.
Unless you're really handy and you can do a lot of it yourself.
And you're not going to be asking questions if that's the case.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you're asking those sorts of questions.
Yeah.
And you've just got to be realistic with how much, if you don't want to spend the money, basically.
At the end of the day, because a lot of people say, oh, you know, what do I need a budget for this sort of project? At the end of the day, like you said a little bit earlier, your horsepower goal or your ET goal, or depending on what your application is, if it's a tarmac rally car or whatever, you know, set that goal first, because that's going to dictate just about everything. It's going to dictate how much horsepower you need. It's going to dictate what sort of power management you need and what sort of suspension and whatever you're going to need to get it happening. And all that shit costs money. So once you've figured out and locked down and you're unwavering on that horsepower or time goal, that's going to decide what the rest of it ends up
if there's a budget there, you definitely want to sort of put it into a whole package. There's no point having a 700 horsepower engine and then running out of money and you can only, you know, put a shitty transmission in there and you know, you're waiting around forever to get a decent, properly made stall, and you can't put a decent 9-inch in it or whatever, you know, like whatever it may be. You can't afford the fuel system you need for the engine.
I feel like that's something that gets greatly overlooked, is things like the fuel system, or even putting something like a trans cooler in these days. If you're going to use like braided line and stuff, that's like an $800 exercise at best.
Yeah, you definitely, if you're not doing it all, it's not that we do it all the time.
No.
We do it, a little bit. Things like speed flow and fuel systems, and it's all the little trinkets. You've got to set aside a good amount of money, and it's super important.
Yeah.
It's more important than the big parts.
Yeah.
Because you can burn up the big parts quick, smart.
Yeah.
That's why I'm...
Yeah, that billet rotating assembly ain't going to survive if you haven't spent the money on your fuel system.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the last thing you want to do is end up at the track or the dyno and running out of fuel system.
Yeah.
And I think it's because you sort of got me thinking down the path of when a project starts, and I hope we don't feel like we're like trying to preach to you either, because we're not the messiahs or anything like that.
No, shit.
But
we are not professionals, and our opinion should be taken with a grain of salt. However,
you do get, when you start a project, you get super caught up on all the sexy shit, don't you? That's what I'm just...
I still do now.
I know.
PRI comes around, and then you get all the
Yeah.
brands dropping all the gangster
But
shit.
it's always easy when you start a project to buy this really awesome turbo kit or whatever it is, this sick manifold or whatever. You start there, and then it's like something that's like really not that sexy, like a fuel pump or
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, people get like the EFI stuff, and they'll ask questions and buy like this really wicked EFI, but then they're putting it on like a fucking engine that's like on a stock 5 litre or whatever, for example. You know? Try not to get caught. Try not to get too caught up on the sexy shit. And I'm the worst for it, because I've bought shit for my engine that I'll never fully utilise.
Yeah.
And I've wasted a lot of money on bits that...
You've got a 1,200 horsepower fuel system for a 400 horsepower combo.
Yeah. That might do 800 maybe one day.
Yeah. I think another really good tip that I've sort of come to realise in time is, if you're going to use trades, so if you are someone that does need trades to help with your project, consult them before buying anything.
Yeah.
Because there is nothing worse than buying this gangster block and you're thinking, yep, I've got this aftermarket block that's going to be great. I'm going to use this and that and everything else. And then you go to your machinist or your engine builder and they go, nah, I don't like those. And then what are you going to do with it? You've got to go with their recommendation. Otherwise, they're probably not going to help you.
Yeah, we did touch on that last podcast, didn't we, with the EFI stuff? And
possibly, yeah.
Well, yeah, we did, because that was when Nick sort of had a bit of a change of tune with the Maloo project when we went from the Haltech and now we've gone to a Holly program, basically.
Yeah.
So, you're not always going to switch it up like that. So
No.
I've seen in injected 5 litre, that joint's gone cold the last couple of years, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but someone the other day, has anyone put and I hope I'm not putting any names out there because I don't even remember, but has anyone put fuel tech on a Holden before? And every time someone asks an EFI thing, I'll just put my 2 cents in, which is ask the guy that's tuning it what box he wants. And he replies back and he's like, thanks for answering my question, dude. I'm like, there's too many people in this world that want to just fucking circle jerk and like ask a heap of random cunts on the internet what box they use. Who gives a fuck what box they use? Honestly, who cares?
Yeah. Unless you're using their tuner, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, unless you're going to start dragging your car all around the countryside trying to find someone. There might not even be anyone locally in your area that knows how to use it or cares to use it.
Yeah.
So, and if 5 litres in particular, they're the most basic engine in the world. Like, you don't need anything flash.
No.
They run off like 90s stock computers just fine for the most part when they're stockish.
Yeah.
So
they got one coil and a dizzy.
Yeah. If you're on injected 5.0 asking about boxes, you're probably not going to need the best one out there.
No.
That's got, it might be the best box, but if you don't have the guy there,
I just love how everyone on there just jumps straight on. Just get a Haltech plug-in.
That's because a lot of people are like me and they don't like wiring. They're figuring out how to wire.
And rightfully so. However, those people aren't asking what gearbox it's got. Because if that's a VR 5 litre
you
with
don't ask all the questions when you give advice on the internet, Jeff.
But if it's got
fucking stop it.
If it's got a 4L60.
What stall?
Yeah.
This one, bruh, that's all you need.
Yeah.
3500, that's it.
But if it's got a 4L60, that plug-in doesn't work with that trans. You know what I mean? You got to go back to a Turbo 700 or a Trimatic or something because it doesn't have any trans control.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but that seems to be a favourite one on that crowd.
Yeah, you really got to be careful asking questions on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm in all sorts of groups, but more often than not, the people, if they really are clueless and they're in asking questions, you're going out worse than you went in.
Yeah.
I promise you are. More often than not, you need I mean, it's good to get a bit of a gauge. You sort of just need to be able to have enough sense. I've asked heaps of questions on there,
Yeah.
but you sort of need to have enough sense to
Bit of
sort of know who's doing what.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. Do a bit of research first. Tell you what, once again, we keep saying it, but that's where the forums were king. I want to shout out. So in the video of my ute being sold, in our analytics, it sort of tells you where the views are coming from. And I saw on there, third on the list was Just Commodore's forums, which I thought was a bit weird. I'm like, why would there be views coming from there? I want to shout out to a long-time viewer, Fu Manchu. You'd have seen his name pop up in the comments
all the time.
101 times.
Yeah.
He went to the effort of creating a thread on Just Commodores to sort of spark a bit of a conversation of people who have either sold a car to a previous owner or bought their car back, and sort of shared my story and got a bunch of people sort of watching the video that way. So I want to say mad props to you, Fu Manchu. Thanks for, one, being a very avid follower, and two, sharing our stuff around so that other people get to watch it. We do appreciate the hell out of that. But I went for a bit of a wander through the forums just to see what the recent sort of topics and stuff were.
Was JC, you said, Just Commodores?
Correct,
I
yeah.
never spent like any time on there.
No.
I didn't like that one.
The
really.
vibe.
No.
Yeah, I wasn't
Yeah,
a
it
mad fan of... And
It
look,
wasn't as good as Street Commodores. I don't care what anyone says.
yeah, it might be different now because,
You know who-
shit, what else have you got?
Yeah, you know what was a good one? Performance Forums was fucking good, eh?
Performance forums was great as long as you weren't on the receiving end.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If you're on the receiving end on performance forums, you were not having a good day.
Yeah.
But yeah, those dudes knew how to talk shit.
Yeah, there was some good stuff in there.
Yeah. And some awesome builds. Have you seen, I think there's a performance forums Facebook group I've come across the other day. And it's the same sort of shit. They just share a bunch of memes and stuff like that. But every now and again, you get pretty gangster build or a blast from the past, like someone with a car from those days sort of resurfacing, I guess. But yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Talking about blast from the past from our previous podcast guest, our first guest, did you see the updates on the Psycho Ute that Daryl's been sharing?
Yes.
The airbrushing progress?
Yeah. So they found the original airbrush artist who did it previously. And he's
The previous few times. I
Yeah,
guess,
yeah. And had all the airbrushing
Looks really
touched
good,
up.
eh?
It does look great.
Yeah.
It's
A lot of work, man. Damn.
right down to the brake discs and shit.
They might need help. Like professional help.
Yeah, man. Troy is he's committed. You can't.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Like when it
In the
finally gets
flesh.
over here. Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
wicked.
I wonder
to
when
see.
it's going to be ready. Like, I wonder if we're ready for like Motor X next year or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot of work ahead of it. But as we both know, this shit takes time. But and particularly in Orange, it's going to be bitterly cold.
I was
there.
just thinking that. It's getting a bit cold here. I wouldn't be venturing out.
Oh, it's probably already in the negatives in
Yeah.
Orange at the moment.
Yeah. There's no way I could live there.
Nah, shit no.
No.
But nah, it's that's going to be awesome when it's done. I'm proud of them. You know what I mean? For taking on the project and keeping it as true to the original as what it was, to really bring it back to be exactly how it used to be. It makes me, feel good about the project inside. Not that I should give a fuck. I've not spent a dime, but you feel invested when you know the blokes. You know what I mean? And I can't wait to see the final result.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be sick.
Shenanigans online though, mate. There's been some shenanigans.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't even seen the article
Yeah.
from. You've seen it?
I haven't seen like. Oh, sorry. I did see the
Didn't we
news
get
article.
sent in our socials?
Yeah.
A
I
clip
did
from,
see
like,
the news article, but I haven't seen. Or I might have inadvertently, but I haven't seen the video that sort of was the undoing.
Yeah.
However, a semi-predominant South Australian automotive YouTuber has had their car confiscated.
Yeah, which is not a single. There's not one bit of fibre in my body that's surprised about that at all. And I'm not
No.
happy. I'm not necessarily happy about it, or
No.
I don't think I'm neither here nor there,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
But I'm certainly not fucking surprised about it at all, because
Getting out on.
you'll be able to tell the people how over the top I am with just sort of online security and people knowing sort of more than what they need to know, especially when it comes to like registration plates and perhaps, where you live and stuff like that. Like I'm sort of I try and be fairly vigilant with it, because there's no harm in overdoing it and underdoing it. So,
But yeah. So you go out and you do some pumpies for Dale. Out on
or for no one.
you're doing some pumpies. You're getting into some mischief with the boys on a weekend or whatever, and it goes up on the Instagram stories. Well,
Or on your channel.
Yeah.
With zero blurring.
The 5-0 gets a hold of it. It's on public roads or whatever. See, this is where the US and us are very different. If you're an overseas listener, I don't think there's many of you, but in the US, you've got to be caught in the act to be considered, doing the wrong thing. If they've got video footage or whatever, it sort of doesn't really hold up. In Australia, though, they don't give two fucks about any of that. If they've got video footage of you doing a skid on the street, that is just straight up evidence, admission of guilt, guilty as charged, prove otherwise, change my mind.
I bet there's people that have been charged with zero evidence.
Yeah.
Like
no doubt.
that's like, it's pretty shit house, but yeah, that's just how it is over here. It's dog shit.
Yeah. But that car is at risk of being taken away permanently or being crushed.
Which would be a shame.
It would be a super shame, because it's a super nice car.
Even
and
if
the guys,
wasn't, it doesn't. I don't think the government should ever be able to take your property off you and do that, no matter what. Like no matter what, I don't think there's any scenario where I think that is okay.
Obviously, there's probably got to be some punishment for doing the wrong thing. But like you say, I don't think they should be taking away your personal property, which you own outright. There's, that's yours. They shouldn't be taking that away. Fine him, give him community service, give him a suspended sentence, give him, a short stint, whatever.
No.
I don't think that's fair either.
I kind of like the idea of just getting caught, personally.
Yeah.
But I also, you kind of should know better as well, just for sharing it in general.
Yeah.
Like, it's different if someone else has filmed you and then they've put it up. Well, then it's sort of like bad luck. But when you're just putting everything that you do up for everyone to see, you've just got to expect it, I guess, is what I.
Yeah. Like you say, you're super over the top with it. I'm certainly not too forthcoming in putting shenanigans up online.
No, we're not going to do that, because you know what can happen.
Exactly.
And it might not. You might get away with it for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And then one day it catches on or someone sees it.
Yeah.
And then you're in the shit. So you're better off just keeping it to yourself.
Look at the dramas that your brother Troy Candy had with the cops over in Melbourne, particularly. Because same sort of thing. And a lot of the time his shenanigans were on private property or this and that, whatever. However, it was just putting it out there, dangling the carrot and just antagonising. And even though at the times he wasn't doing anything wrong or whatever, the cops would still be waiting at the gate of his factory where he worked just to be a nuisance, I guess.
The difference is, though, and maybe this fella in SA is the same, like they've built a pretty big brand off of doing that shit. So they've the amount of sort of even just money directly that would have come from having that sort of stuff out there, the followers and everything that comes along with that, the audience, the brand, your brand. That's probably gone a fair way for him anyway. Like, he wouldn't change. He wouldn't change it.
No.
He's had a pretty rough go with the fuzz too. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we all sort of know now.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, look, if you didn't know, if you're that oblivious, just look. If you're going to do something silly, if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you're having a bit of fun with the boys, just keep it to yourselves. You don't have to put it online. I know it seems like a great idea, but it's fucking not. It's not. Because it makes all the rest of us look bad too, because the news, they're not going to get the footage of that charity cruise and all the people handing out teddies to homeless people and whatever. They're just going to go straight to old mate doing a skid in an empty industrial park, no doubt, in the middle of the night when there's no one there, but they're going to make out like you nearly hit, a Catholic school bus. That's just how it's going to be. And it makes all the rest of us look bad, and not necessarily look bad, but it just draws attention, which is something that we just don't need. So
No. Yeah, our numbers would be dwindling as the years go by, for sure.
Oh, I think that's possibly a thing anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Kids would rather drive around in 4-cylinder diesel fucking utes now.
Yeah.
As sad as that is.
It is a sad thing, isn't it? Because even the young fillies out of high school now, a couple of blokes at work, they got teenage daughters or whatever, and we're having this discussion because it's just like, all right, so what are the boyfriends bringing around? What are the boyfriends bringing to your place? What sort of hot cars have they got? And they're like, nah, they're all fucking Tritons and, all these, and they're all sort of clapped out because they just want to go through bog holes and jump over dunes and shit like that. There's no clean street cars, which is super disheartening for both him, because he's a car guy and he wants he wants to have some interaction with this kid.
The other side of that, though, is what would you rather your kids driving around in, like a hot sedan or like a gutless 4-cylinder diesel?
Yeah.
Because I had this conversation with one of my friends, Simon, who his young bloke's got like a pretty bombed out patrol. Like, it's got a big pump on it, lift, and like heaps of stuff. Like, it's a fairly fruited up TD42 GU, and it's like going in bog holes and doing shit like that. It's like way more safer than the shit that we used to get up to. You know what I mean? When we were their age, 17, 18.
Yeah. So I had a VT Calais way back, which was an LS1 and had, like all the bolt-on gears and a maffless tune and yada, yada, yada. I sold that car to buy the VSU, and I sold it to a young fella who didn't have his license yet, and got his license on a Friday on his lunch break from work. He goes back to work. When he's leaving on Friday over, all the boys like, show us what this thing's got. So he's done a dirty power skid out of the industrial park, and the cops are at the end doing an RBT. So bang, he's just nailed on the first go. And I saw his parents a couple of weeks after, because this thing had a ridiculous stereo in it. It was just a wild setup with, kicker L7 subs and shit that I'd spent thousands of dollars on. But it blew a fuse or something. So I managed to bump into the father, and we're talking about the car and how it's going, and he told me about what his son did. And he said, yeah, I'm forcing him to trade it in on a 3-litre non-turbo Hilux because of exactly that, like what trouble can he get into? I felt so bad for the kid, but he was just like, nah, he had his chance. I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and I said, righto, here's enough rope to hang yourself, and sure enough.
Yeah. One knockoff skid, jeez.
Yeah,
unlucky.
Dude. On a Friday arvo.
Unlucky.
And it wouldn't have been that impressive. I mean, that thing did a pretty dirty power skid, but yeah, it wouldn't have been worth.
It was a skid anyway.
It wouldn't have been worth losing the car over. Things that would do big dirty power skids though, GTR Fest has just finished up. There's a couple of impressive numbers that have come out of this. As
always.
Yeah. I haven't gotten right up on the content. It's only Monday, so most of that stuff's still coming. However, The Don, overall fastest and quickest on a new combo, 593 at 235 mile an hour with an early shut off. That's getting it. 235 mile an hour in, we can't call that a street car, I don't think. That'd be full blown race car, but still.
Of course it is, yeah.
But it's still a car that looks like a car. You know what I mean?
Even if it doesn't, it's still pretty good.
Yeah. But it's
just the fact that it's a 6
I think
cylinder
it's
going that fast.
super impressive when you can take like a stock body car and make it do that. That's super impressive to me. You made mention before of it was a Sylvia, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a mechanic there, or their apprentice, or their mechanic at Torq. I think that's his car.
Sure, we just had a bit of a power fluctuation. Sorry about that. Let's pick up where we left off, however. So, S chassis, like you're saying, an apprentice or something at Torq?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's a mechanic at Torq. I think, something like that.
Hitman set a world record, making him the quickest and fastest S chassis IRS car on the planet, 6.7 at 218 mile an hour. IRS car going that quick. That must be not impressed in the 60 foot.
Any car.
Yeah. Like, could you imagine the suspension working on that in the 60? Holy shit. That'd be hard out.
Pretty cool.
But I'm looking forward to the content coming out for that. There'll be a few. I think I saw Nelson's put a video out. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but that is in my notifications. And yeah, there'll be heaps of heavy hitters. I think the Cranked Motorsports guys, they had their 32 there, which that
was the fresh build, wasn't it?
Yeah. That looks like it's a gangster bit of kit.
There's a lot of really, really high-end Skylines over here.
Yeah.
GTRs in particular. Like,
I think there's always...
It's just, you see that when they do the shop tours or whatever content, whatever shop's putting out, or people are visiting, it's just like Billablock, fucking Pro Mod Turbo, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Just non-stop.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
There's always a bit of an argument on who does the better GTRs, Australia and the US. I think we got them hands
I don't
down.
think there's any arguments there. I think that's fairly clear cut with what you've just said.
Yeah.
It sort of says it all.
Yeah. Unless you're talking 35 GTR.
Yeah, but 35s aren't GTRs.
No, I agree.
Yeah. No one cares.
No.
That's a lie. People care, but that's not the hotness for a lot of folks.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. Well, unless you got money, because they're expensive.
I don't think they're any more expensive than...
Well, building a 32 or something, yeah.
Once you get to that level, they're all on par.
Yeah. What do you think would be harder? Obviously, I know what would be harder. Building a 32, say with the billet block and this and that and everything else, to make that high horsepower versus buying a 35 and then getting, say, like one of the Alpha, like A1000 kits or something like that, and making the big horsepower. But what would be like all in cost factor? Because obviously you've got the cost of buying the vehicle and then doing the mods to get to that stage. Obviously you've got a higher capital investment buying the 35, but then you're probably going to get to that horsepower goal quicker and cheaper.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we're well versed enough to know that, because I know the transmissions are pretty dear. Like you just hit levels. All your bolt-on and easy, simple stuff, obviously you're going to get a lot more performance gain out of a newer car that makes more power without fucking with it too much. But once you got to start building them transmissions and stuff like that, I think it all, like any platform, it sort of doesn't really matter what you start with. You get to a certain level of seriousness when you're really getting serious with it, and it sort of all seems to start leveling out. You know what I mean? Like, it's using the age-old one that we go by is like with an LS versus a Holden. Once you get to a certain level where it's all aftermarket blocks and stuff like that, yes, the Holden stuff still probably is going to be a little more, but it's definitely not the same as when you're using factory head castings and factory blocks and stuff like that.
It's probably a generational thing, I guess, or just personal preference as well. But you got some people that just won't want to live with that older car.
Yeah, but you've also got the people that know full well that 35 is nowhere near as exciting to drive because it'd be boring. You just get in and it just goes. The number on the, if you're racing it, the number on the board is going to look more impressive, but the experience is not going to be the same.
No.
And that's really what cars are all about at the end of the day. It's the experience, whether you're driving it, building it, seeing other people's reactions to what you've done with it.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Have you been in a 35 before?
No.
I've been in one, and it was mildly modified. I'll tell you what, the pickup those things have got, it was pretty, like, it surprised me when he first got after it on the loud pedal, and I was just like, oh, this is actually a bit, like, I knew it was going to be quick. It's obviously like built to rival supercars, you know what I mean? So I knew it was going to be reasonably good, but it was pretty surprising how much low down torque it had for a 3.8 litre, which I guess is still a fairly big capacity for that style of car.
Yeah.
But the thing that really impressed me was the rolling anti-lag. So you play the steering wheel like a Game Boy and you go fucking R1, R2, left, up, down, square, X, and it unlocks this secret menu, and you use the cruise control buttons so we're at Barbagallo and we're coming down the hill out to the main straight, and you pretty much set the cruise control up at 70 k's an hour, and it's just like a rolling anti-lag. As soon as you mat that pedal, it was just fucking on. It was to have that functionality in sort of a stock car, dude, it was cool as shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it was, like I say, it's
same thing, I guess.
It's all Game Boy stuff. Yeah. Like, I don't think I'd want to live with one, like as my own vehicle, but it was.
I only need to hear one on the chip, and I'm like, yeah, that's enough for me.
It sounds like an Ecotec, doesn't it?
I don't know if it doesn't really sound like that, but it's not. I don't really like it either.
Yeah. They don't sound like an RB.
No,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's a pretty impressive platform, though.
Yeah, I like them. I'd love to have some sort of RB GTR or something one day. That'd be pretty cool. But it's not really fully my scene. But yeah, they're pretty cool.
We've got an RB30 kicking around. We just need everything else.
Yeah,
literally everything else.
Yeah,
maybe one day. I don't know if we've even mentioned that before, but we do have an RB30 kicking around. Well, mate, with that done, why don't we move on to Under the Bridge. We're going to visit the comments section and address, I don't know, some people's comments, I guess.
Okay.
Our boy Grim Reaper, he's back. Isn't it funny? He goes quiet for a while. We've got a resident hater. I think just about every video we get one thumbs down, and I reckon it's him just about every time. Sell the ute. What does he do? He's like, bet you only got $5,000 for a piece of shit.
He's a Holden V8 hater, I believe.
Absolutely.
I reckon he's a fucking Ecotec guy.
Possibly.
Yeah.
He could well be. But, yeah, it was funny to see him pop up out of nowhere. He's getting his 5 minutes of fame now.
Well, I'd forgotten all about him, but when I did see it pop up, and I thought, oh, that's... I'm sure when we very first started it, like I can't remember what he said, but I just remember it being a long time ago.
Yeah, I remember that being pretty early days. So it was funny to see him pop up again. I just replied and I said, "It's good to see you still around, mate."
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny.
It was too good. I want to go back. I think it was Fu Manchu again. We're going to give him a second plug on the pod. He's going to struggle to walk out the front door after this. He shared a bit of a story. He said, when the video went up, he said, "This is weird. It's such a similar story to when I said goodbye to my VP ute. Almost shed a tear as I left the street, and it took us all over WA. Kids came along, the ute no longer easily fit with our needs, so along came the crewman. A A few days ago, I found in my contacts, bought the ute. I was in his contacts. I'm thinking I want to find out what happened to it. Bit random though. And here you are posting a different version of a very similar story. And I still think about my ute still. I said to him, go on mate, ring the number and flip us a voicemail with your findings. I don't think we've got a voicemail yet, but it'd be interesting to see. Have you ever, because you sold a couple of cars, you wouldn't have kept in contact with any of the guys that bought?
No.
No. Once they're gone, they're gone?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I haven't sold that many.
Yeah. No, not really.
No. It'd be interesting, though, if you did... it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because if it is your pride and joy, what happens if it's crashed and burnt and whatever? You know, you probably... Would you want to know? It's kind of like the Schrodinger's cat deal, isn't it? You don't know unless you open the box.
Most of them would have went through that many more hands after a lot of the time.
Well, I feel like with that ute of ours, I'll call it, if you didn't buy it and then I didn't buy it off you, I guarantee that thing would have been blown up, LS swapped, crashed, thrashed, busted, stolen, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it got pretty lucky to have the life that it had.
Yeah, and fairly untouched too, really.
Yeah. Did you capture anything out of the comments section somewhere?
Nah.
Nothing?
There was quite a few comments though. It was really good
Yeah.
to see some engagement back.
There was some good stories that sort of I can't pinpoint too many other than that one.
There's
from our
heaps
boy.
out there. I mean,
But
you
yeah.
could go on all night about it, really.
Yeah, just a lot of people who had, sold a car or got one back after many years, which was really exciting.
Yeah. No, I haven't been getting caught up on the feels of it. I've just been like, all right, what are we getting for the VH?
Yeah.
And what are we doing? We're going air fire. Are you going to do the motor for nitrous now? Are you going to tame it down? You know what I mean? I've just been asking all those sorts of questions, and you've been telling me, shut up. I don't know.
So I don't want to get stuck into the engine until last. It only makes sense to me to make the car ready to accept an engine before we even bother looking at it. Because if I blow my wad on getting the engine sorted out and blow half my available budget that I got now, then that engine just gets wrapped up in plastic like it is now, sitting for another few years. So it makes
the sucky thing, because you need to get yours like registered and stuff. If it was already registered, it'd be probably a bit different story.
Possibly, yeah.
But because you've got to kind of do some things twice in order to get it all happening and registered and stuff like that, you can't do it how you want it the very first time. So
No. But I am strongly considering the air fryer out. I think I've got a carby. It's sitting right there, front and center. I do have a carby for it, which was, custom built to suit the combo. But I don't have any ignition.
You've caught that. What's the tag that Jeff's been doing? The carb delete.
Carb delete, yeah.
Yeah, you've caught that carb delete.
Well,
jigger.
Yeah.
And if you want to put nitrous on it, it makes sense.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that's honestly why it makes more sense if I do want to put nitrous on it. But also, if I was to maybe tame the engine down slightly to then be able to run a 98 tune, obviously it'd be like very limited RPM and all sorts of things to run on 98. But then switch it on flex to E85 and then spray it with some gas, to make up the shortfall. If I tame the engine down, but then I put an extra 100 of spray on it,
I think that taming it down would be more for the valve train is what my thoughts were. Having something that's just not going to be fucking, going through lifters like Skittles sort of deal.
Yeah.
Like getting a new camshaft with a nice...
lobe.
With a nice, the lobes on that, like your engine's like old, and it's a race engine, like it was built only to race.
Yeah.
And it's like old. So if you sort of update, like you said, your camshaft and maybe do a couple of things with the cylinder head.
Yeah.
Probably still run it on good fuel anyway, because you can't trust pump 98 really at all, and especially not with high compression and stuff like that. But yeah, something that's just going to be sort of a little more nicer for more regular driving.
Yeah.
So you're not like, oh, no, I don't really want to take that because I'm going to have to do the lifters in another so many kilometres or hours or whatever. Like you sort of want to get in and drive it as much as you can.
Yeah,
And if you want to put nitrous on it, you don't necessarily need to have like I'm going to call it a max effort, even though it isn't, but it's a fairly highly strung engine. If you are open to the idea of putting nitrous on it, then why not tame it down? You're going to have to soften the heads up a bit and stuff anyway, and then just use the gas to get you back up to where you need to be to go as fast as you want to go at the racetrack.
Yeah.
Where you'll need a roll cage instantly anyway. So, like, you know what I mean?
Well, if I'm using the nitrous, aspirated, I'd like to think it'd run a 9 aspirated.
Well, the motor you've got now, as is, I think it would.
Yeah, it probably would. It probably wouldn't do it straight off the rip.
No.
Like, we'd have to...
No, of course not.
You have to work that out. But, it'd probably do 9s aspirated. But, yeah, I think eventually I'd like to spray enough to run an 899 and then just... That'll do me, I think, for this car. If I want to do something faster, I'll build something else. But this is all bridges that need to be crossed. However, like I say, the engine to me is probably one of the last things that I want to sort of spend money on. I'm going to be thinking about it. I'm going to be planning all the other stuff around it. But as far as actually getting to it, it's going to be the last on the list, unfortunately. Which sucks because it's the more... exciting part, but
yeah, it's the most exciting part.
Yeah. Speaking about race engines,
You know what really grinds my gears? Running on the chip.
Powered by our good mates at Reed Speed. If you want to get a sweet accessory drive kit, or if you want to maybe show an expression of interest for the new crank trigger kit that's under development for the Holden 5 litre, then head to reedspeed.com.au. That's super exciting, isn't it?
Of course.
The crank trigger kit. We sort of teased the subject a long while back, and we've been talking with Dan at Reed Speed about it, sort of on and off for a little while, and he's started some development, and it's looking pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're a Holden 5 litre dude and you want to maybe accelerate yourself, like I say, if you're someone that's looking for an EFI box or something, or you want to go to some sequential ignition and, move out of the 1970s.
Yeah, the VT distributor can only sort of get you so far.
Yeah.
They have their own sort of problems once you start getting after it RPM-wise, but it's always nice to have options there.
Yeah, yeah. And like I say, this looks like it's going to be a neat package too.
I sort of want to help maybe get an LS alternator conversion going on as well. Step away from the, the old AC Delco bloody 80s bloody shape alternator, There's not a shitload of options, so we might even look into doing something like that as well.
Yeah.
Doing a bit of development and stuff like that.
And if you guys have got something that you guys are really interested in that you'd like to see, look, no promises. But if there's some ideas that make sense out there, then it's certainly something we can put forward.
For sure.
Anyhow, on the chip, have you got anything that's got you on the chip recently?
Nah.
I've got a weird one. Barbershops.
That is a weird one.
Yeah. For some reason, over the last couple of weeks, the barbershops got me on the chip. I'm getting sick and tired, and I don't know if this is just where I'm at or if it's everywhere. But you go in and you wait your turn in line for however long. You've got like one qualified barber there and then a whole bunch of apprentices. You get a half-rate haircut from the apprentice that you got to friggin' touch up when you get home, but you're still getting slugged full book. It's getting beyond a joke.
That's probably just you, bro.
I don't know, man. I don't know, because it's not like I get a super fancy haircut. There was a time where I did. I used to spend a fair bit of time at the barbers, but, I just don't have the time these days. And plus, who the fuck am I trying to impress anyway?
The juice just not worth the squeeze anymore, bro.
Nah. But, you go in for your haircut and you sit there. And look, I accept that when you go to a barbershop, like a traditional style barbershop, you don't book. You're just going, right, I got a couple hours this morning, I'm going to go and get my hair cut. And you might be the first in line, or you might be waiting a while. That's just how
Can
it
you
is.
even book a barbershop? I don't think you
I
can.
don't think
It's a barbershop. I think it's a hairdresser once you...
men's hairdressers, that's when you start booking. But like I say, you end up...
You might need to switch it up, bro.
It might be time. It might be time. Or I might just fucking buzz cut.
Do you think they've looked at it and gone, I'm just going to, like, you know, when you take like a rough car in and you just need like a panel touched up, and they just haven't given it the same effort they would on a brand new Mercedes or something? Do you reckon they're just stiffing you that way? Maybe you weren't her style or his sort of,
so
you
maybe,
know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that's the case.
Maybe I should have like take an extra 5 minutes in the shower and like just
I don't know, man,
get myself smelling nice.
I don't know. That could be.
Well, I'm kind of going there so that they do me right, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm getting dogged.
Yeah.
But like I say, I don't know. It must just be a business model for the local area.
Yeah.
It's like, right, we're going to open up this shop. We got one qualified barber and then we got 5 apprentices. So then we don't have to pay fuck all on wages, but we can still slug you $50 for a haircut.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know, you just get that sometimes, don't you?
Yeah.
Some Australian businesses, like Australians in general, are kind of, you get what you get.
Yeah.
Don't you? And you don't get upset.
Well, you do. You get on your podcast and you get upset.
Yeah. Just start blasting them. Yeah, I've been waiting for an invoice for a friggin' transmission for the latest project, and I've had to wait over a week, and I've tried calling. And it's a really, really, really nice transmission.
It is.
I thought they would have tried to sell us one by now.
Yeah. And it's like, it's a month's wages for some people. It's not like it's chump change.
More than that.
Yeah, but, you know, like it's a sizable sale. You'd think that if they wanted
like I said, it's just a real nice 400, so...
Yeah.
Try and call them again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Sometimes you need a... And I've emailed other shops. I emailed three different places. Arguably one of the best places in Australia. That's the one I'm talking about. And then there was another 2, and one was sort of more local in this state. I still haven't got a response from those guys. I guess maybe they want to be called up, but even then, I find the email thing, at least for an initial thing, you can get to it in your own time. It's all in writing, so you're not missing out details, like especially like a transmission build or an engine build. You need it all in writing, and you know that way both parties can digest it more.
But not only that, like if I was a machinist or an engine builder or a trans builder or whatever, I wouldn't want to be sitting on the phone all day. You get fuck all done.
I understand that they don't want to be like doing out detailed quotes over email all the time either. So I do get that, but you know, we're literally at invoicing stage and it's gone cold. So who knows?
Yeah,
but yeah.
Once again,
heaps of stuff to manage.
Yeah. Once again, we get to highlight that the service industries in Australia are lacking.
But lucky you do get good products most of the time.
Yeah.
And everyone's busy, and a lot of them are small, and you only got so many people.
I think that's what a lot of people probably struggle to realise is that some of these high-profile workshops, whether, you know, tuning or car building or whatever, a lot of them are like maybe not one-man bands, but there's only a couple of people working there. It's not like you've got a massive factory with 20 people running around. It's not like a beehive.
No, it's never going to be like that because the skill sets you need to do a lot of the stuff that people want done
and the quality control.
Half of those guys are going to do their own shop.
Yeah.
And make the money, you know. So
yeah.
That's why it is like that. You need to find the right people.
Yeah. Which hopefully we can get the right people on board if they get back to us.
We've definitely got the right people on board for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. So you got nothing to get you on the chip other than my barber shop?
No.
Righto. We'll move on then.
Hello.
Blow a wine. Our favourite segment now. I was a little bit slack on it this month with reminding you guys to get your voicemails in. However, if you do have a voicemail, you can go to our website, torqhub.com.au at any time. There's a red button on the right-hand side where you can send us a voicemail. or periodically I'll post it on our Instagram stories, which yesterday I fucked up, Kurto.
It happens.
It does. But I made a typo. So I put a link in the Instagram story so that people could just make it nice and easy for them, just press the button, leave us a voicemail. But I put a typo in the address. So if you click the link, it went to nowhere.
Shitload. That'd be my move.
Yeah, absolutely. But we managed to get one voicemail in, which it's better than nothing. You're right there with your headphones.
Yeah. Just need to push it in. It's all good.
Right on. Let's go.
G'day, fellas. Just calling in about the new taxes fee pass that starts from July next year. They're about meeting the emissions each year from now or from then until 2029, bringing the CO2, which is basically about half of what they put out now, where a lot of cars, even Hilux, don't even meet it now. So it's interesting to see what the future is going to be, because instead of us getting more and more powerful cars that we used to, more power out of them, we're now going to get cars as smaller and smaller engines to try and meet these, ridiculous lines that don't change anything about emissions. We both know that. So interested to see what you guys think about, what the future's going to be, because basically it's like, we're basically pushing the EV and hybrid agenda more and more on the people that, a market that isn't really interested. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, taxes will fix everything. Just put another tax in, mate.
Yeah. I gotta be careful because I don't.
No, you don't. I reckon we just fucking let them have it.
Yeah.
They want to cut down on all this CO2.
You know what? The carbon they want to reduce? Me and you, mate. That's what it is.
Yeah.
CO2, the plant food.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you get rid of the
man.
CO2. CO2's creating global warming, this and that. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Let's say for a moment that global warming is a real thing, because look, I'm not a scientist, so I'm not gonna cast a definitive judgment. I have my opinion, obviously, but CO2, let's say we get it down to a level that they want. The Earth is not going to survive very well without it.
They'll never get it down to where...
Trees need CO2. They literally... You're taught that in primary school. You breathe carbon dioxide out. The trees take that in and they give you oxygen back.
Yeah. You're never going to be able to reduce it to a point that's going to make any difference. It's like fractions.
Yeah.
That they try. Where it matters, it's in our pockets.
Yeah.
That's just another creative way to take more money out of your pocket, more or less, and just make it harder for everything.
Yeah.
And look, I don't know.
I'm certainly not against being less wasteful as human beings. You know what I mean?
We can definitely get better.
Taking better care of the environment that we have. I think there's definitely ways that we can move forward there. However, I feel like the agendas that are being pushed and the opinions and the targets and all this sort of shit, I don't feel
There's
like
an ulterior motive, and it's not a greener planet, that's for sure.
No.
In my opinion, anyway.
No, I don't feel like it's going to make the difference that people think it will.
It'll make a difference, but it won't be.
Yeah, it's the sad reality. Yeah. And why is it that you've got these, what are they, committees, I guess? You've got these governing bodies who are self-elected or whatever that are really putting the pressure on Australia, of all places, to clamp down on certain things when percentage-wise we contribute next to nothing as far as greenhouse gases and things like that.
Yeah, I said it's got nothing really to do with that.
No.
It's just about the boot. It's about the boot on the neck, and us as Australians in general just cop it. Like, we're just too worried about the footy or whatever's going on. No shade on anyone that likes football, but as a general culture, no one's really interested in politics, myself sort of included, really, because I don't believe a single word that any of them say. So.
No. And we get screwed over with the whole bipartisan voting.
Oh yeah, the whole lot. If your life's gotten better over the last decade, good for you.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anyone that their standard of living's gotten any better any time in the last recent history.
No.
It's just getting worse and worse and worse.
But what I'm saying is, even say if you were interested in politics and you felt like your opinion was going to make a difference, even if you went in to the voting polls and you made a very conscious vote, it's not necessarily going to do what you think it does because of this bipartisan system that we've got. It just, I don't know. We've tried to avoid politics as much as possible, but I feel like at the moment, screw it. Like, yeah, I personally don't think that any move that we're making in the automotive industry is the right one. It all went very, very wrong when we stopped supporting our own domestic market. We've still got taxes that were put in place to protect our local domestic market. That's been gone for many years, yet those taxes are still here. You know what I mean? Like, why? It's just to make life harder for all of us. For every dollar that you make, you pay tax on the fuel in your car, you pay tax on the food in your cupboard, you pay tax on literally everything. You've got tiny amounts for every dollar that you make and you work hard for.
Yeah.
It's fucked.
Yeah, it's by design for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that it's hit peak. Well, not peak, it'll get worse, but yeah. It's beyond a joke now. I don't know how a lot of people are surviving, honestly. Like,
oh, no shit. Like, you and I are quite fortunate to have pretty solid jobs and earn a very modest income for what we do. Obviously, we make sacrifices by way of shift work and whatnot, and you've got a pretty specialised, or we've both got quite specialised skill sets for our own industries. But we're certainly, I've never earned more money, but I've never felt so, not poor. I'm not going to say I feel poor,
No.
but I definitely,
it's not going as far.
I definitely feel like my lifestyle has been affected over the last couple of years, for sure. Obviously, inflation's doing its thing, but that new tax.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that because I don't watch. I'm sure that was on the TV. I haven't watched that garbage in over 10 years.
Yeah.
But it doesn't surprise me one bit.
But it's like you said, they're going to tax them if...
They're probably the most commonly sold vehicle as well. Like, it's just, it's like they've just gone, oh yeah, this is going to just hit like the most amount of people for the least amount of effort. And we're going to sell it to you, but it's for your own good.
Yeah.
Blah-de-blah-de-blah. When,
It's like you said, there's obviously the push for the hybrid and the green energy market.
Which is really not that green at all.
No, that's right. But even like our infrastructure's not ready to support it.
Yeah, these guys are like, in our locality, are like planning on shutting down power stations, and there's no real good solid solutions there to replace it with the other energy that they're doing. They're doing stuff. It's just not going to be as reliable.
No.
And it's going to cost us a lot more.
I mean, shit, we had one power fluctuation just in this podcast, but where we live, we get power surges regularly.
Yeah, it's going to get really bad.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah. No, I just don't see the sense. Like, make it make sense. If you can make it make sense to me, like, I'm fairly open-minded. I can sort of take in whether I'm for it or against it. It doesn't really matter. If you can make it make sense to me, that is what's important. But nothing that I've heard so far really makes tangible sense. And obviously people will be like, oh yeah, but you got a confirmation bias because you've got your own opinion and what you search online shows this and that and whatever else. But that's what makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it hasn't worked this far.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another money grab, really, at the end of the day. And yeah, without going too crazy into it, it's just it's disappointing for sure. But like I said, at the end of the day, like, we all as a nation sort of just sit back and cop it, and we have done, and say why they continue to get away with it. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they put our money in their pockets or their friends' fat cats' pockets. You know, like
Yeah.
these are all backhand deals
Yeah.
that we don't benefit from.
No.
And the positive thing though is I think the hydrogen thing is just some information's getting to the point where it's unavoidable. You know, you can't. You know, the truth will always sort of come out in the end.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing a lot of sort of hydrogen bits and pieces. And the main reason I say it is because I follow Jake Bain on Facebook. If you haven't followed him, you probably should.
Yeah.
He's great.
And he does some legendary work as well, just like in his own profession. He's
Yeah. He's a super smart guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's always sharing different bits and pieces about hydrogen. He knows a lot about it. I don't know anything about it, but I do know that it's probably a lot greener than some of the other pathways that they're sort of pushing for.
Yeah. I did see that there was something, I think in California, they've pulled 5 hydrogen stations. Like they've just closed them. So I don't know what, obviously.
California is probably one of the biggest shitholes in America. Like, whatever they're doing, probably do the opposite, and you'll do a lot better.
Yeah.
There's a reason why people are moving out of there.
In droves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
But no.
Thanks for calling in, but yeah, it's pretty shitty.
Yeah. And I don't see how it's going to benefit. Other than less utes being sold, and how does that help us?
That's not really. I mean, people are still going to need to buy cars and use cars, and so all it means is going to have. If there's a tax, you're just going to have less available money, or you're going to have to work more. And we're already working way too much as it is. And while you're working, you don't really have time to sit back and look around and think, what the fuck are these guys really doing? Like the big picture. We don't know. We're all too busy putting out our own fires in day-to-day life to really sit back and see what's really going on. And like you said, the quality of life's it's definitely not going in the trajectory that I wish it was.
No, for sure. And regardless of what your opinion is on the political state, it's important to remember that we elect these people to work for us. So it's probably up to us to hold them accountable. Well, not probably. It definitely is up to us to hold them accountable and sort of act on our wishes as a collective rather than just their own, which I feel is, once again, because we've got such a laid-back society, we just go, it's all right, they can take care of it because I'm not interested.
Yeah.
But
perfect. They love that.
It's getting to a point where it's like, hang on a minute.
The last few years, I'm sure, have opened up a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah.
As to sort of, what's going on.
Once again, I feel like I'm a fairly open-minded person, and I know you are too. We're both very pro-choice in everything. So it's like, if you don't have to agree with our opinion, and if you've got your own and that's what's going to work for you, then great. But you just got to make it make sense for me. Like if it doesn't make sense, then I'm not going to.
Well, you're not going to think it's a good idea anyway.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's right. Alrighty. This is probably a bit of a short and sharp potty because in all honesty, we weren't very well prepared for it.
Yeah.
But there was a couple of topics to cover, and it is getting to the end of the month, so that's where we're at.
Yeah, definitely try and make better use. I've only got 3.5 days off this week, or 4 really.
Yeah.
I still call it 3.5.
Yeah.
So, make use of our time as good as we can. I've got so much work to do.
Yeah.
On the Maloo, the list just gets longer and longer and longer. So
yeah, and I've got probably 80 gigabyte of footage to go through.
Yeah,
It's
not good. It's honestly not good. I don't think all I've done is best case scenario for what I've done is I've picked the camera up when I've done something, but because everything has chopped and changed so much, there's been one particular sort of pivotal moment in this project when we sort of were buying parts and we had a fairly clear idea of what was going on. We've got roll cages for this and that, and then all of a sudden we've sort of thrown around some I guess horsepower figures and stuff, and just sort of went with it, and then it sort of changed the course of everything. And now I'm at the point where I'm trying to find the good base ground to build from, without shooting ourselves in the foot later on when it comes to the potential of what we've got. So
So basically my task over the next couple of days is to go through all the footage that's been captured and then figure out what it is that we can even use, because a lot of it doesn't even apply anymore and doesn't make sense, because a lot of that work has to be redone.
Yeah, which I think you'll probably still use it. It'll just be how you package it into videos and where you cut it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's all right. I mean, it doesn't have to... We don't have to do, like, videos where it's like, we did this task and we got it done start to finish. This is going to be more of just this is what we're working on, and this is the journey of how it's gone so far.
Yeah.
But it just hasn't helped because you haven't been there. So, and I've just jumped from... like, I'm sort of just jumping wherever there's a bit of work in front of me.
Yeah.
And it's so as far as like flow for the video creation, it's been a bit shitty, which is it's low on the priority list really at the end of the day. Yeah, it'll be what it is.
The video is the byproduct of the work, not the other way around. The work isn't the byproduct of the video. So, but when K-Fizzy's been left unattended, sometimes things go a little bit
Well,
haywire.
it just makes it hard for you for when you try and glue it all together.
Yeah,
I'm capturing most of the stuff that I'm doing, so like that's the main thing. But that also doesn't necessarily make for good video either, of me dribbling shit for 5 minutes and then time lapsey stuff, like that. It makes for a shitty video. It's good to have the vibe going in the shed, where they're talking shit, whatever, So,
but I'm back, baby. I'm finished with my holiday.
You say that anyway. You say that. When you're there, I'll believe it, because you've been gone a long time.
You're feeling
you've
abandoned.
Just left me alone. Lucky I got that 3-footed monster and the new camera. Otherwise,
that's right.
You'd turn it on and there'd be like no files in there.
See, I treated you to something nice. Be appreciative.
Yeah, so I don't know how we're going to do the video yet, and I don't want to like spoil every single thing on here either. So, but just be sure to know that this is by far the most exciting project I've ever done, sort of been involved with, and probably just in a general sense for what sort of videos we do and others like us. It's as far as what the caliber of the car is and how it's going to turn out. It's going to be it's going to be extraordinary, but that won't necessarily mean it'll do great video wise. Like whenever we think something really cool is on a video, it usually flops. So but that doesn't matter.
No, but you did right. As far as a car that's being assembled by 2 backyard hacks, this is by far the most ambitious project that we've taken on and that we're likely to have in the near future. It's exciting.
Backyard hack's a bit rough though as well, I reckon.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not going to wear that one anyway.
Well, all right. 1 backyard hack and a fabricator.
Up, he hasn't yet.
Listen. But no, we have got some really good people on board for it as well.
Helping out, because we need it's the advice and direction. Yeah. It's important.
And hopefully with those people and their advice, we might be able to get a couple of guests on the potty as well, so we can bring some of that conversation to the table for you guys.
That'd be good.
Wrap it up, baby.
That was a good one. Bit long. Bit dribbly, but thanks for listening anyway. As per usual, we do enjoy sitting down doing this. Yeah. And we always enjoy the interaction with you guys after you've listened to this. Hopefully we get some more comments through next week on the website. If you've got some topics, send them through now. Once you've listened to this, get off here, get on the website, www.torqhub.com.au. Leave us a message. If you're feeling really froggy, you can get yourself some merch. We've got jumpers, shirts, hats, stickers, all that cool stuff. I want to maybe get our Pick Your Poison on a black shirt and hoodie. We should probably really just organise that like now. That'd be like a good, easy one that we can stock up. Yep. We'll let you guys know when that's all happening. That'd be a good one.
Yep.
And as always, thanks for listening. Thanks for the support. we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.